It's playoff time, Mustangs fans. Welcome to tonight's Friday Night Lights matchup between the 6th-seeded Mount Lebanon Blue Devils and your 11th-seeded Plum Mustangs. The Mustangs had a tale of two halves this past season, as the first half saw them get out of the gate at 4-0 with wins against Hempfield, North Hills, Altoona, and Norwood. The midpoint marked a turning point for the Mustangs when they were upset by the Kissimmee Cavaliers by a score of 23-14. They would then come back with a dominating 49-23 victory at home against Connellsville, would then proceed to lose their next two games against conference opponents McKeesport and Penn Trafford before beating Latrobe 42-7 last week to close out the season. Throughout the year, the team was led by a great rushing attack that saw many different backs at the helm. Now it's juniors Nick Coxon and Kevin Brown leading the way, with Patrick Coxon taking a lot of the snaps at quarterback in recent weeks. Your Mustangs are, of course, coached by former NFL player Matt Morgan. The 6th-seeded Mount Lebanon Blue Devils had a memorable 2015 season that had them start out an impressive 7-0. During that stretch, they beat Cannon McMillan, Moon, Baldwin, Penn Hills, Peters Township, and North Hills. They were tied for their conference with #1 seeded Woodland Hills going into Week 8, which was against Woodland Hills, or the Battle of the Unbeatens. Unfortunately for Mount Lebanon, they dropped that nail-biter by a score of 21-17. They will then respond with a win in their final week, beating a solid opponent in Upper St. Clair by a score of 34-21. Mount Lebanon will be led into this game by two-way players Jack Young and Patrick Moeller, and by quarterback Eddie Jenkins. All three coming off a huge week to close the season. The Blue Devils are coached by Mike Millennium. Once again, I'm Logan Carney, joined tonight with fellow TV students Nolan Carney and Noah Frederick, along with TV teacher, the real deal himself, Mr. Rick Barat. Now guys, the Mustangs are back in the playoffs for the second consecutive year. How fun has this journey been up here in the booth, and what are the Mustangs going to do in order to make a run for Heinz Field? Nolan, I'll start with you.
Logan, it's been very enjoyable watching these Mustangs perform this season. We're here in the playoffs. It's a great atmosphere, good stadium, beautiful stadium, and I think that the key to winning in the playoffs and winning this game especially, Logan, is to get on the board early. Is to start off, get an early touchdown, control the pace of the game after that. Mr. Barat?
Nolan, I totally agree. In Plum's losses to Kiski, especially McKeesport, which was a disaster when we were in that small press box in Penn Trafford, Plum got behind real quick. So we just heard that there's some rumors that one of Mount Leba's running backs is possibly suspended or sick. So that's advantage to the Mustangs. Plum's excited. Last time they were in the playoffs was last year, and it was a heartbreaking loss in the freezing cold at Norton against McKeesport. So we're looking forward to an exciting game tonight.
Noah, your thoughts?
Again, I agree with all of you. I mean, just setting the pace at the beginning of the game. They have to come out, put some points on the board early, whether hopefully a touchdown, but they just have to get out there, really stay firing on all cylinders at the beginning of the game. Don't let themselves get behind.
Joey Lowen's kick is booming all the way back to Brown, and he will stumble into the end zone a little bit, but he will return this one nonetheless. He gets down past the 20. He's still on his feet. He's going down, rounds to the 40, crosses the 50. He's got no room. He's got all room. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown!
Kevin Brown!
Touchdown! To start off the game, Kevin Brown, a 100 yards touchdown return on the opening kickoff, and your Mustangs lead this one 6-0 with Jacob Chaplin coming out to attempt the extra point. What a way to start a game.
Now that is exactly what we were talking about. They have to come out. They didn't even have any offense on that one. Took it right into the end. So that is setting the pace of the game. This Mount Lebo team is they're biting their nails right now. I mean, they have to come back from not even their defense playing poorly. It's just their offense has to come out now and really get it going, because Mustangs great return there, especially so deep in the almost hitting the end zone there. It was great return by Kevin Brown.
Jacob Chappell on to attempt the extra point as always, and this one is up and good. Mount Lebanon not even attempting to block the extra points, and the Mustangs on the opening kickoff. Kevin Brown, he has been great in the return game along with Patrick Crossy, and he returns one all the way, 100 yards, touchdown return. What a way to start a game.
Secret to Mustang success for the rest of the game, Logan, minimalizing their own mistakes. They can't let them beat themselves. They're up 7-0 so far this game, and they have to control their own destiny, and they can't let themselves beat themselves.
11:46, the time on the clock. The Mustangs, if you're just joining us, one play, one touchdown, 7-0 on the 100-yard touchdown return by Kevin Brown. And now we will see Jacob Chapla come out to attempt the kick. And as Mr. Barat mentioned in his pregame, Edgar Parilla is out tonight. It was rather a report of either a stomach flu or suspended.
Suspension.
Last week, Mount Lebanon had a little altercation with Upper St. Clair that Parilla was involved in. We don't know if the reason he is out with the game is because of the flu or a suspension. But if we get more details on that, we will bring it to you. So in the kickoff now will be Jacob Chapla. Back to return, looks like number 6, Nick Tomasi. And this one is a hard line drive kick that bounces into the end zone for a touchback.
Great kick off the cleats of Jacob Chapla as usual, Logan.
Well, we were talking a little bit on the ride over here. Plum's had that one big statement win against North Hills. And Nolan, you were with us when we broadcast that, and it was special teams that won it for the Mustangs in that game.
Yeah, no, special teams, Plum special teams might be the strongest. I mean, their defense plays well, their offense, they can get by, but their special teams, one of the strongest in the whips right now, Logan.
Eddie Jenkins, he will keep, and he will pitch it behind his man, and he will get a couple of yards. That was number 6, Tomasi, who got the pitch by Jenkins. And it looks like, this is tough to see due to the angle up here, it looks like that got him only a couple of yards. Actually, they'll say 5, 2nd and 5. Jenkins will throw. He'll throw a quick screen that's completed to number 1, Aiden Caden. Caden, he's going to get to the outside, and he has some room. He's going to get down past the 40. He gets just to about the 50-yard line. They're going to spot him out at the 51. So that'll be a first down for the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. If you're just joining us, score 7-0. There's 11:10 remaining in the first quarter.
Mount Lebanon guys going to hurry up offense, so trying to keep Plum from doing any substitution, obviously.
Now we see they're coming an empty set. There's Jenkins. He had over 300 throwing yards last week, and they'll actually go into the Wildcat now. And they'll keep it. You break a tackle and get out. He lose a couple on that one. That was number 4, David Harvey. He's their leading rusher on the year. He's had 85 carries so far this year, by far the most out of anyone. And on that time, on that carry there, it'll be a loss of about 2 on that one. So we see 2nd down and 12 now, as we are now under 11 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Jenkins in shotgun, and he will try and keep it and run up the middle, but he will be sacked behind the line for a loss on that one. That was number 24, Zachary Kay, who got in there and wrapped him up and brought him down. Another Mustang stop there. We see 3rd and about 15 now as we approach 10 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Your Mustangs lead this one 7-0.
Zachary Kay being really impressive these last few games, Logan. If you recall, he had a blocked punt, I believe, last game, and then that sack there, forcing a third and long. Very important early in the game to get sacks, stops.
Jenkins, who's in shotgun, and he will throw. He's under pressure. He's going to try and scramble. He gets sound past the already. It's huge hit.
Dylan Whiteman, I believe that was.
So that was number 20, Dylan Whiteman. A huge hit there.
Big clean hit by Dylan Whiteman.
And now will force the punt unit to trot on the field as we approach 9 minutes, 30 seconds. And all the momentum is on the Mustang side so far in this game.
Again, setting the tone for the game with that hit, with the kick return. The Mustangs are amped up for this game right now.
Back to return will be Patrick Crossy, of course, as there will be a timeout called on the Mustangs.
Yeah, something went wrong there, guys. Coach Morgan is very, very upset. I don't know if it's because of the timeout, not enough players on the field, but he is not happy right now.
we like to take this time to remind you
This broadcast of Plum Mustangs football and all other broadcasts of the Mustang Sports Network are copyrighted for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the express written consent of Plum TV and the Plum Mustang Sports Network is strictly prohibited.
So now for the first time this game, we will see the Mustangs about to get the ball on offense as Patrick Crossy will be back to return. In the punt is number 15, Garrett Montilla. They bring a man over. And there's the snap. The punt is up, and it is a high punt. And Crossy's just going to wave the fair catch, and it will bounce out of bounds.
Right around the 15, I think, Logan.
Yep, the 15-yard line. So the Mustangs will start their first drive on offense, already up 7-0. 9:15 remaining in the first quarter. It'll be 1st and 10, ball on the 15 for the Mustangs coming up.
High school football playoffs, you're going into a opposing team stadium, you're controlling the flow, the momentum of the game, getting all your hometown fans really loud, energized. Exciting to watch our Mustangs in this first round of the playoffs.
Patrick Crossy, we mentioned he's been getting a lot of snaps at quarterback, and he will start for the Mustangs at the QB position. Although it's likely we might see Corey Thomas a little late in this game. He will throw short. He has Teeter. Teeter is going to try and fight his way for the first down, but he will get to about the 19-yard line. So we see 2nd down and 6 coming up for the Mustangs.
Now, Mount Lebo read that one well. They had the, looked like Pat was going to the halfback there, hit Teeter, but Lebo was all over it. Luckily, we did get, Mustangs did gain a couple of yards, however.
When Patrick has been in at quarterback, they've thrown a lot of short passes with him, along with running the ball out. You might see Corey Thomas come in if they want to attempt something deep. But now we see there, and there's somebody jumped there, and there's a flag on the play. This will be against Mount Lebanon. Looks like number 66, Hunter Kazin, jumped the line a little bit too early, and that will move the Mustangs up.
If you recall last game, Logan, at Latrobe, they really wanted to test.
No, it's going to be motion on the offense. So it's going to be it's against the Mustangs, which I'm a little stunned there. I didn't see any movement, but obviously the refs did start to interrupt, guys. But it'll be 2nd and 11.
As I was saying, you saw last game, they really tried to work Patrick in as the quarterback, wanted to see what he can do. He did well. That was a bit of a blowout, and they're going to continue to use that until they can't use it anymore in the playoffs.
Patrick will be in at quarterback, 3 wide receivers out, 2 running backs lined up at both sides. He's in shotgun, and he will try and pitch it and come out.
That's an incomplete pass, guys. That's a shuffle pass, so that will be, it's not a fumble, so, and the refs are all over it. They did call incomplete.
Going back to the penalty called against the Mustangs there, it looked like the Mount Lebanon player was upset himself, batting his helmet while the Mustangs linemen were clapping. It looks like it was going to go against Mount Lebanon pretty obviously from up here, but referees must have saw movement, and that backed the Mustangs up. Now we would see 3rd down and about 11 for the Mustangs here. Patrick Crossy still in at quarterback. 4 wide receivers out. Lineup behind him is Dylan Whiteman, it looks like. They're going to throw. He's going to roll out to his left. With a breakneck tackle, who gets sacked behind the line. That was number 71, Chaz Blanca, who got in there. And with 8 minutes left in the first quarter, Mount Lebanon will get the ball back on offense, trailing 7-0.
That was one of my biggest fears, guys. I was hoping Plum would at least be able to get a first down or 2, keep that momentum. But now it looks like Mount Lebanon will have excellent field position here, right around midfield to start their 2nd drive.
I think that penalty really killed them there. Early in the drive, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd play, but still got a lot of game.
Back to return will be number 6, Nick Tomasi.
I think it was that delayed game. I wasn't looking at the 25-second shot clock, but I didn't see any motion, guys.
We'll await the call by the officials.
Oh, I guess it's 12 men. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
So be called against Mount Lebanon. Say 12.
legal substitution. The PA announcer just said. So that'll make it still 4th and a ton for the Mustangs as Jacob Chaplin, the punt.
Does get him out of his own end zone, though. He was about halfway into the end zone. He's standing at about the 1 yard line now.
7:35 remaining in the first quarter. 4th and 11. Mustangs leading this one 7-0. Back to return is Tomasi. The punt is a line drive punt, and it will bounce. Take a Mustangs bounce.
Good bounce for the Mustangs.
Inside the 40. Looks like they're going to say it's down at the 35-yard line. So Mount Lebanon, who's been very good at offense this year, especially through the running game and both the passing game too, are going to take their second drive of the game, trailing by 7 with 7:23 remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, I agree with what Mr. Barat said earlier. I was also worried about Plum's offense and if they would be able to push the ball up the field in the first drive. Very important drive. They get another score, they put maybe 3 points on the board, or they just drive the ball down the field, give the defense an easy job.
They will seize back the momentum, Nolan, if we can hold them 3 plays or out or create a turnover. But if Mount Lebanon's able to move 30, 40 yards and get a score, then that opening kickoff is obviously Plum's going to have to go to work.
Of course.
And we will see at quarterback Eddie Jenkins, who had over 300 yards last week. We mentioned earlier, big game for him, along with Tomasi, who's one of the league leaders in yards, and he finds a man open. That was number 5, Patrick Muller, who dropped it.
He was wide open in the middle of the field also.
Big break for the Mustangs there.
That was actually number 6, Nick Tomasi. I was just talking about how he is among the league, the Whitfield leaders in receptions because he's a very good deep threat. And there he drops the pass. Now we see 2nd down and 10 with 7:18 remaining in the quarter. And he will fake the handoff, and he will get it to Tomasi. Tomasi will run to the outside and get hit. Looks like he might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard there. But nonetheless, be 3rd down, either 9. Looks like coming up with 7 minutes remaining in the quarter.
I've never seen a play like that. I mean, he literally threw that 5 yards diagonally behind him.
Very risky, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
So again, we will see Jenkins in shotgun. Looks to be a little confusion with getting the play call. So now per 6 minutes, 40 seconds, play clock at 10. Jenkins in shotgun, 5 wide receivers out. And he will get sacked behind the line. Try and get a number here.
Looks like Zach Nolan, guys. 85.
That is Zachary Nolan with a huge sack. And again, the Mustangs defensive line coming up big. 6 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and the Mustangs will get the ball back at offense. Patrick Crosby back to return. On the punt will be Garrett Montilla. 6:10, the exact time remaining now in the quarter. The Mustangs lead this one 7-0. And there's the snap. It is a low snap. The punt is a very, very nice punt. Crossy will fair catch it, but let it bounce and then pick it up. And nonetheless, they're going to...
I don't understand that. Even if he calls for fair catch, I know what they're saying. He called for the fair catch, and then he picked it up and ran it. So they will not give Plum the ball at the 35, guys. That should be where he initially got it at the 33, and that's exactly where they marked it. So I'm sorry, Logan, I was going to say better field position, obviously, for the Mustangs to start this drive.
The Mustangs will start this drive at their own 33-yard line. 5:49 remaining in the quarter. They lead this one 7-0 on the 100-yard kick return to start the game by Kevin Brown.
Now Corey Thomas, as Noah is just pointing out, in at quarterback.
Crossy will motion to the other side, and they're going to send him deep. Corey Thomas will break a tackle, and he's going to try and scramble and buy some time, but he will end up getting sacked. And that is a loss of, it looks like, 6 on that one. So we see 5:30 remaining in the quarter.
See what Plum's going to have to do there with Mount Lebanon and their 2 Division I defensive tackles. not a lot of time back there. Plum's going to have to go to almost a max protect situation to buy some time. They've tried to pass on first down and have been unsuccessful. So, you know, I would expect Matt Morgan here to maybe try the ground route.
5:08 remaining in the quarter.
I'm feeling a screen out here with Kevin Brown, the halfback, out wide.
Patrick Crossy in at quarterback. 3 wide receivers lined up, and he will run the option. There's 2 flags on the play as Crossy gets some back.
It's going to be some sort right in the area there of holding.
Number 81, Crossy.
We will wait to see what the officials say. The clock says 4:53 in the quarter. Reminder, if you're just joining us, I'm Logan Carney. Join with me in the booth, Noah Frederick, Nolan Carney, and Mr. Rick Barat. The Mustangs lead this one 7-0.
You said booth.
We're actually just behind the Mustangs fans here.
On a cement pad. With a table.
Hey, 2 tables.
2 tables, yes. And no shelter. Thank goodness it's a nice night, no rain. Right, Nolan?
I'd rather be up here than in the closet at McKeesport.
Yes, I heard the conditions last week with Mr. LaVarse were not that much better last week either.
Maybe a little bit better than McKeesport.
Okay.
Felt like the walls were closing in on us.
Nolan and I ate gummy cherries at the end of the first half against McKeesport because we couldn't even see the feet. We had to look through the viewfinder 2-3 deep in McKeesport's press box, so we cannot complain.
Corey Thomas will remain in quarterback. So it was a penalty against the Mustangs and backed them up pretty far. And he's going to throw deep. He has Ashton Teeter just ahead of him. Maybe a couple yards overthrown, and that is just unfortunate for the Mustangs. And we will see 3rd down and a whole bunch.
Ashton had a solid 3-4 yards on him. If he catches that, he's taking it all the way.
Oh, that's a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
I like that play call as well, Mr.
I think I would honestly do it again because if he underthrows it and it's intercepted, it's like a punt.
Yeah.
Corey Thomas, it looks like, will stay at quarterback. We mentioned earlier, they usually throw deep with him in. 5 wide receivers, empty backfield set for Thomas. And there's a flag on the play.
Looked like they were just trying to get a few yards, make the punt easier there.
Well, that's not, you know what, actually though, Noah, you know, when you were Kiski with us, right? Were you Kiski with us? No, you were at the game, but yeah. That's what we said Kiski did a lot against Plum. They would spread them out and then just try to find the lane and run up through the middle. So Plum's taken here several penalties here at the beginning of this game, and all of a sudden now it's 3rd and you have to make it to the 43, and they're on the
about the 10.
8.
Like.
So it's 3rd and 35 for the Mustangs. And a previous penalty was a chop block, so that's why Plum was moved way back.
And Corey Thomas is going to keep it. He'll get wrapped up, and they're going to try and strip the football from him. But nonetheless, Corey Thomas will fight his way for a couple of yards, protecting that football. The clock will tick under 4 minutes now. 7-0. The Mustangs lead it again on the huge opening kickoff return by Kevin Brown.
And it's like deja vu, guys. Here's Jake Chaplis setting up just inside his own end zone right now. And he will need a good punt, or Lebo will start. The Blue Devils will start at midfield.
I do like the play calling in that previous drive, just penalties hurt.
And there's another line drive punt, and it will take a Mustang bounce, though it does not look like it will cross the 50, and it will get touched down at about the 47-yard line. So the Blue Devils will start this drive with 3:42 remaining in the first quarter. They are trailing 7-0. The huge opening kickoff return by Kevin Brown. And now it looks like they're going to try and tie this game up as we go, as looks like only a couple more drives before the second quarter starts.
Curious there, the last 2 punts by Jake Chaplis, he's kind of hasn't had the ball facing forward. It's kind of been turned a little bit, and he's actually right now practicing punting in the practice net. So I don't think Jake's too happy with the way he's had his first 2 punts.
Jenkins in at quarterback, and it's going to be dropped. We wait to see who has it. Looks like
It's like
Mount
the
Lebanon
Devils
lineman
have it.
dived right on that one.
Wow, that would have been a huge break. And, interesting, what we talked about in class, guys. I said if Plum's going to win this game, they got to win the turnover battle. Then they need to make big splash plays. Obviously, the opening kickoff was a ginormous splash play. That would have been another one there. Big-time recovery, though, by the Blue Devils.
And that was Jenkins to Emmanuel Kamalafi, who dropped a handoff there. There's 3 minutes remain in the quarter, and they're going to throw with Jenkins now. He has a man open. That is Kane. Kane's going to break the tackle, and he's going to run right into the end zone. And now they're going to try and tie this game up as the Mount Lebanon fans jump to their feet with 2:56 remaining on the clock. It's now 7-6. The extra point units trotting onto the field here.
Well, we saw that earlier on that previous drive when I can't remember the name, number 6, the wide receiver, dropped that ball right in the middle, and there was no one there, and they went right back to the same play, and they hit it to their speedster, and sure enough, it is 7-6 with the extra point pending.
Now we will see 15 Montilla coming to this.
Oh.
It will be a bad snap, and the Mustangs are going to retain the lead here. So even though the Blue Devils will get a touchdown, the Devil's Den will be quiet, and the Mustangs will retain a lead, but it's now just 1 point, 7-6. The Mustangs lead this one with the offense about to get the ball once again.
And that's a big play.
Oh yeah, big time.
That is a huge play right there. So that forces Lebo obviously to get another score, and if they do, forces them to go for 2.
Plum's offense really needs to make a good drive out of this, put some points on the board. Their defense and their special teams is not going to be able to win this game for them alone. The offense has to put the ball down the field, put the ball in the end zone or through the uprights.
And here on the kickoff, you could obviously see Kevin Brown and in previous games Pat Crossey's return ability. Even if they don't take it all the way this time, I think they can definitely set themselves up in a decent field goal or decent field position. Basically anything other than the 10-yard line as they have been the past few drives.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Mount Lebanon squibs this kick and does not kick it deep. And if they do kick it deep, I can't imagine them kicking it to Kevin Brown. So I expect a squib kick or it to go to the right side to Patrick Crossey. But
we saw Kiski do that after Crossey returned the touchdown.
No doubt.
Low it on to kick off. It will be a line drive kick right into Brown. Brown's going to return this one from about the 7-yard line. He's going to get some nice blocks, and he's going to only has a kicker to beat. He's going to scramble down to about the 45-yard line. So another nice return by Kevin Brown. 2:46 is where the Mustangs will start this drive, and Kevin Brown has been huge on the special teams today, putting the Mustangs in great field position as they lead this game 7-6.
Maybe they'll learn after that one, Mr. Barat.
Yeah, I'm talking to Mark Mitchell behind me. I'm absolutely stunned. Why would you kick the ball to Kevin Brown the rest of the game?
I think they were going for a squib there, just hit it too hard. It bounced, but
that was a line
right into his hands. So,
well, again, this is Plum's best field position here, guys. Let's see what they do with it here. I'd like to see him keep it on the ground.
Crossy and a quarterback, Brown lined up behind them. He's going to keep. They're going to run the option to the outside, and he's going to look to pitch it to Brown. It'll get knocked out of his hands. It'll be recovered by the Mustangs, luckily, as Zachary Nolan recognized that the ball was out, and there's a Blue Devil down on the field.
Number 81, Crossy on the keeper.
And
Plum's just struggling here offensively. If it's not penalties, it was the mishandled pitch there, and it looked like Pat was going to gain 3-4 yards, but all for naught. It will be 2nd and 12 at the Mustang 43. They'll have to get to the Lebo 45 as we're at 2:31 left to go in the first quarter. Just joining us, opening kickoff taken back 100 yards by Kevin Brown. And then after a couple failed possessions by each team, Lebo came back on, I don't know the yardage,
40.
Logan, a 40-yard pass play to draw within 1 in a missed extra point attempt by the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. It has us at our current score during this injury timeout. It is 7-6. Mustangs with the lead as we're approaching the end of the first quarter.
There's number 65, Paul Gratton, the senior defensive lineman, who's limping off the field.
Yeah, it looks like he either has a, I mean, it could be obviously something worse. We don't know. We're just speculating. But as he walks off on his own power, that's always a good sign. So we'll see if he makes it back in, big number 65 for the Blue Devils.
So now we see the Mustangs offense about to start. 2nd down and 12 here. Ball on the 43-yard line. 2 minutes, 25 seconds remaining in the quarter. They lead this one 7-6. You heard Mr. Burrott mention earlier that it was on the huge kickoff return by Kevin Brown. And then Mount Lebanon, after a couple of failed drives, had a huge play of their own before failing to convert on the extra point attempt. Crossview being in at quarterback, and he is going to throw. He finds Teeter. Teeter will drop the pass there. He had Teeter, but Teeter looks like he wasn't expecting it to come so quickly. Bobbled the ball a little bit, and it'll be incomplete. So 3rd down and 12 with 2:03 remaining in the quarter.
He actually, I mean, Ashton probably should have had that. I mean, did Pat throw it a little bit behind him? Yes. Was it a catchable ball? Yes. You know, it's another bad break there for the Mustangs here, and hopefully they'll get a little good luck here in this plays. It's now 3rd and 12 at the 2:03 mark left to go here in the first quarter.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Mustangs only once have had down or have had the ball with less than 10 yards to go before the first down.
And Crossies, he's under pressure. He's going to be brought down by, looks like, number 55, Cam Haley, who held him long enough for Chaz Blango to get there and knock him down. But he was not out of bounds, so the clock will keep on ticking. Under 2 minutes here remaining in the first quarter. The punt unit onto the field as they lead this one 7-6.
I expect Jake Chapla here to just strike this ball so well. See how he grabs it off the snap.
And there's the punt. It is a high one. It'll
might have hit him.
Bounce right up at the 40-yard line. Only get a couple more yards down the field. Looks like they're going to start this drive
Little
38-yard line.
A little stunned there with Jake. That's 3 punts. It just, I don't know if he is nursing an injury or he is just
average, I think, is the best word.
Yeah,
usually
he's
incredible.
And he went right back to the net. And it's just, let me go get a quick shot over here. He's right over the net holding the ball, and he's getting ready to practice.
Eddie Jenkins, he's going to hand the ball off. That is David Harvey. Harvey is going to get a couple on that one, but will get hit by a wall of Mustangs. So with 1 minute remaining in the quarter, this looks like we're going to see a 2nd down. Looks like maybe 7 for Mount Lebanon Blue Devils coming up. If you're just joining us, we're at Mount Lebanon Field. Mustangs round 1 of the playoffs. And you see a snap here by Jenkins. Jenkins going to hold the ball, and he's going to try and scramble out. Ball almost stripped by a Mustang lineman, but he's going to get to the outside. He's going to get a couple of yards there.
Good play by Jenkins to avoid a loss on the play.
He had forever in that pocket, too. He was just sitting there.
Good coverage by the
They will all be happy.
Yeah.
All right.
And we are recording. We apologize. There was a bit of technical difficulties a little bit earlier. We do not know how much of the game that we got recorded, but we'll keep a recap that is simple but gets to the point. The Mustangs lead at halftime 14-13 in their first playoff game here. We don't know if you saw their touchdowns, but they got Kevin Brown a 100-yard touchdown to start the game, and then Patrick Crossy ran it in a little bit earlier on a drive that took about 7 minutes. We saw Corey Thomas take quarterback during that time up until Crossy ran it in on the keeper. And now they lead 14-13. Well, Mount Lebanon's had 2 big pass plays as Jacob Chapla kicks this one off. And this is a high, booming kick to the back of the end zone for a touchback. Jacob Chapua, we don't know if you saw it, he was struggling a little bit with his punting earlier, as Mr. Barat mentioned earlier. Again, we do not know how much we have recorded. We apologize for the technical difficulties, and we will continue our recap. Mount Lebanon had 2 touchdown passes. The one was to, I believe, David Harvey, and the other one to Nick Tomasi. The Mustangs lead 14-13. Again, we would also like to apologize. Number 1 is actually Patrick Muller. He's listed as number 5 on our roster, not Aiden Kane. We got a big gain, called him earlier. We do not know if you saw that. And there's the keeper. It will end up being pitched back to Tomasi. Tomasi will run to the outside, and he will get knocked out of bounds. It looks like they're going to give him the first down. And there's a Mustang down, helped up by a number 4,
Keyshawn
David
Smith.
Harvey. Helped him up there. That is Keyshawn Smith, as Noah mentioned. So since we don't know how much we have recorded, we will do a quick reintroduction. I'm Logan Carney. Joined to me tonight, Noah Frederick, Nolan Carney, and TV1 teacher, Mr. Rick Barat. We see number 12, Eddie Jenkins in shotgun. 5 wide receivers out. He gets the play. We do not know how much you've seen, but they do not like to go into a huddle before they call plays to try and confuse the defense. And he's going to keep it here. We saw him do that earlier, and he's going to run for the first down. And Noah, since we do not know how much of the viewing audience was able to see the first half, how would you like to describe it for them?
Mustangs started off slow, really slow. I mean, they could just do nothing right. That last drive, they really pounded the ball and did fantastic, actually.
And it's going to be the keeper by Eddie Jenkins, and he's going to get the first down a little bit more. He is very fast. We've seen that a lot so far in this game.
And, as I was saying, the Mustangs played very well at the last 7 minutes of the game. Mount Lebo has really been running on all cylinders. They've been really able to move the ball down the field, as you can see they're doing right now.
Mentioned that 7-minute drive. Noah mentioned the offense started a little bit late. They had 5 first downs last half. All 5 of them came on that 7-minute drive. Jenkins in shotgun. Looks like he might be calling an audible here to switch up the play, or reiterating it to the lineman. And there's the snap. He is going to keep it again. He's going to run to the outside there, and another huge gain plus the first down for him. He's going to get to about the 25-yard line. He had been sacked 3 times earlier in the game. I believe all 3, correct me if I'm wrong, came on the first 2 possessions for the Blue Devils earlier in the game.
I think this up-tempo offense is really getting to the Mustangs coming out of the locker room.
If we have time, we will try and bring you a little bit more of our halftime report, including this day in history, birthdays, and we will also bring back up our question in case it was not recorded due to the technical difficulties. At number 4, there's Harvey, who will run to the outside, and he is going to run into the end zone for a touchdown, and that will put the Blue Devils back on top. With 10:53 remaining in the half, the Blue Devils now lead this one 19-14, the chance to make it a 6-point game on the extra point. That's something else we did not mention. On their first drive, their first touchdown drive, my apologies, the Blue Devils were able to get a huge 40-yard pass play before failing to kick the extra point. I do not remember if it was on a botched snap or a poor hold, but nonetheless, they didn't get the extra point, and that's why it is likely about to be a 6-point lead. If they do in fact go for extra point, they're going to go for 2. They're going to go for 2 and try and make it a 7-point game. So at this point, a 6-point game does not do much different than a 5-point game, so why not risk it? And he will throw. Jenkins is actually going to run in there. He's going to fake the throw, and he is going to be hit behind. So it will be a 5-point game. 10:53 remaining in the half. The Mustangs trailing just by 5.
Nice stop for the Mustangs. Didn't mean a ton, like you said. There's not much difference between a 5 and a 6-point game, but I mean that drive by the Blue Devils there was fantastic, and it's nice to just Mustangs just a little bit of confidence booster before sending their offense back out on the field. I think just their key for them right now is just to pound the ball like they did on that last drive. Really wear the defense down and just move the ball as best they can.
Now we like to ask this question in the second quarter, but since we do not know if it was recorded, we will ask it again. 2 years ago, these two teams met in the regular season of Matt Morgan's inaugural season. They played in that game in the regular season, and Mount Lebanon won. What was the score? And yes, we don't like to bring up past losses, but we feel that it is very well shows how much this team has changed in the 2 years or 3 years under Matt Morgan, and how well he has brought back this Plum Mustang football game from practically nothing.
Did I miss the trivia question?
That was the trivia question.
What was the question? I missed it.
2 years ago, these two teams faced in the regular season game of Matt Morgan's first season. What was the score of the game?
Did you already tell everyone?
We did not tell everyone.
Okay, so I can officially guess.
You can guess if you want.
It was Mercy World, I believe.
And there is a squib kick.
It's an onside kick.
Who has it? They were saying the Mustangs have
Pat
it.
got it. So I would say my guess would. I want to say it was 34-0 or 42-0. That's sticking out to me. That's my guess. That is my final answer, Logan.
We will bring it up a little bit later in the third quarter.
And I want to apologize to everyone here. I know you said something in the beginning of the half. We don't know right now how much of the first half was recorded. Our peg vault unit, which has not, we haven't had trouble with it in about 10 years, except for a bad wire issue in the summer. We figured out at halftime, didn't record much of the first half, so we have no idea how much we got, but we're here recording the second half.
When Corey Thomas is going to hand the ball to Brown, and he's going to have some room. He's going to get past the 50. He has open field. He's going past the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown Mustangs! And they get the points right back. And the lead for the Mustangs is right back in their direction. What a game this has been. Of course, we don't know how much you have been able to watch it at home, but this game has been exciting. Easily the best game of the year that we have seen so far. The first game of the playoff, the Mustangs have been playing huge. It's been Kevin Brown coming up big tonight, Corey Thomas, Patrick Crossy, all these guys coming together and carrying this Mustang team to what is now a 20-19 lead. Likely 21-19 as Jacob Chapel comes out to attempt the extra point. We're all smiles up here in the booth. Unbelievable. That is the one word to describe this. Unbelievable.
Now this Mustang team, as you've seen last year and this year in the playoffs, they're really taking on the underdog role, and they're shining. They're really, really performing. You can see on the sideline, in the crowds, everybody who is a Mustang fan here is pumped up, and they're ready for these Mustangs to beat the Blue Devils.
Mustangs offense stepping up big on that drive. Haven't seen too much besides that would look to be a 60 or 70 so yard drive for a touchdown. Was, I believe, their last drive of the first quarter. 5 different people carrying the ball on that play, or on that drive for the Mustangs. Now, only one, Kevin Brown.
We need to take 10 seconds quick to pause for station identification.
Comcast, Channel 23, Verizon, Channel 30. You're watching your flagship home for Plum Mustang Sports, an affiliate of Plum TV, the Plum Mustang Sports Network.
What a play that was. Jacob Chapel on to kick it off. What a play. What a game. And that one is high, and Tomasi will return it. Tomasi, he's going to get past the 20. He's going to run to the outside. He has a little bit of room, but get wrapped up. He'll get knocked out of bounds. It looks like they're going to spot him out at the 37-yard line.
Going back to that last Mustang play, I mean, the Mustangs, as we did mention, that big 7-minute drive. On that drive, though, you didn't see a lot of very, very big plays. You didn't see a lot of plays over probably about 10 yards. The only really big play the Mustangs have had today is that 100-yard kickoff by Kevin Brown to start the game. Now that is a huge offensive confidence builder.
Of course, they have a couple of big plays earlier defensively.
Oh yeah,
the sacks, and I believe they had a fumble recovery too. Now we see in shotgun is Jenkins. There's going to be a trick shot to Harvey, who would run to the outside, and he's going to get the first down. He's going to run down, he could cross the 50 and get knocked out of bounds at about the 49-yard line.
The ball carrier is number 4, David Harvey, who is driven
Quick up. Usually at halftime we like to do our This Day in History and celebrity birthdays. If we have time, we'll be able to bring it later in the game, possibly in between the third and fourth quarters. We'll try and bring those to you later in the game if we do have time. It looks like we might have time here. It looks like we might be a timeout call of Mustangs. So maybe we'll have a little bit of time here to bring you this day in history. So today in history, in 1860, Abraham Lincoln, you may have heard of him, is declared President of the United States. The following year, in 1861, on this exact day, Jefferson Davis was elected the President of the Confederate States of America, of course, which led up to the Civil War. 1995, the Cleveland Browns owner Art Modell announced a move of the team to Baltimore. Of course, they then became the Baltimore Ravens, and then the Browns, of course, ended up, going back to Cleveland. Well, they got a different team in Cleveland. Some birthdays: 1861. James Naismith is the inventor of basketball. Was born. He passed away a little bit in 1935.
Naismith, not Naismith.
Naismith. My apologies.
Started out as a kickball type ball in a woven basket on a tree, and then eventually the YMCA adopted it, and then it grew into this billion-dollar industry.
We see in shotgun
will be trillion actually, Nolan.
Probably.
Jenkins. Harvey motions behind him. Now we see Tomasi motion to the other side, and he will throw a quick screen to Tomasi, who has a little bit of room as he runs to the outside, and he will get tackled down there. Number 24, Zachary
K, who came back from an injury, wobbled a little bit in the first quarter, guys.
He had a huge sack early. It's the first sack of the game. I think it was actually on the first offensive play for Mount Lebanon on the game. He had a huge sack then. And now on the keeper, he ended up pitching it to Harvey. Harvey is going to try and run back to the middle, but he will be tackled for a loss on that one. And you see third down and 8 coming up.
That's a blatant hold on Mount Lebanon. I can't believe a ref didn't call it. Plum defensive lineman was yanked down.
Well, as we talked about a little bit during the break, there have been a couple of calls that we believe the referees have missed. Of course, one of them is when Jacob Chaplin appeared to be knocked down by a Mount Lebanon play on the extra point attempt, but they did not call anything as the whole Mustang team was complaining and then went into a celebration. Now we will see Jenkins get the play. They do not go into a huddle to keep the other defense on the field. No, in the shotgun here, empty set. Zach Nolan almost got him, and he will find his man. That is number 3, Jack Young, who had a big game last week. Him and Jenkins combined for just a huge game. We have about 70 yards on last week. Jenkins threw over 300 yards, and they're a huge win against Upper St. Clair. So now we will see 1st and 10, ball on the 34. Jenkins in shotgun. Harvey lined up behind them. Man Mahler motions behind them, and they're going to be batted down there by the lineman. I couldn't see you.
85, Zach Nolan.
Yeah, I was watching the receiver there, waiting for him to catch the ball. Look over, and it's on the ground. That was great play by the Mustang defense, especially to slow down this very high-powered Blue Devil offense.
So he's 2nd down and 10. Ball still on the 34. So one thing we also mentioned at the beginning of the game, Edgar Perala, their 2nd top back on the team, is out today. We do not know if it's a suspension or if it's flu. We've had reports for both. And we've not seen him in this game, so whatever it is, he is officially out. And Jenkins is going to throw from shotgun, and he's going to run up the middle, as he's done a lot this day, and he's going to get the first down and a little bit more as he runs out to the left. He's going to get runs out of bounds for a big gain on that one, and that'll put them in the red zone there with 8:34 remaining on the clock. Looks like they're going to say him out at the 15-yard line.
Mustangs really need to get a linebacker spot on him. He's been running all over us today.
Yeah, no doubt, Noah. I agree with you 100%. He's able to drop back in that pocket, and if he sees the opening, he just attacks and he goes for it.
Jenkins is in shotgun, empty, set, 5 wide receivers out. You mentioned Quillo may be suspended. There was a fight last week against their game up St. Clair. Jenkins is going to run up the middle, and he is going to get, looks like they're going to say he got 2 on that one. So we see 2nd down and 8. So we approach 8:20 remaining in the third quarter. The Mustangs lead this one by 2, 21-19. Your score here as we approach the 8-minute mark of the third quarter.
It gets a little harder to run when you get that close to the end zone.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And there, they'll go to the outside there, and it looks like they may have got to the 5-yard line on that one. They're going to say he got a little bit less than that. They're going to spot him down at the 7 with 7:50 left in the third quarter. It'll be 3rd down
6.
and about.
One thing the Mustangs were able to do very good against Norman quarterback, very known for being able to run the ball very well. They kept him contained fairly well.
And they're going to hand the ball off to Harvey, and Harvey will get the 1st down and run into his own lineman there, and that will hurt him as the Mustangs defender were able to wrap him up immediately after that. They did.
He's short. He's short, Logan. He had. Oh, they gave it to him.
I think the 1st down was around the 5. He got about.
I thought it was at the 1. That's my fault.
No.
It looks like he got it. So it'll be 1st and goal, ball in the 2, 7:30 remaining in the third quarter. It was Chris Erfurt on the tackle there as we heard the loudspeaker over us announce. And they're going to hand the ball off to Harvey, and Harvey's going to untouched into the end zone there for a touchdown.
I think on that one they were watching the quarterback there, Jenkins, because he's been, again, as we've been stating, running all over this Mustang defense and pitching the ball to the back. I think they just completely forgot about the up back there and just went untouched into the end zone.
25-21, your score with 7:20 is the extra point units on to attempt to make it a 26-21 game. There's number 15, Garrett Montilla, who hits it up and good. So with 7:20 left in the third quarter, the Mustangs now trail this one by 5, 26-21. Okay, we'll bring out some other birthdays, might as well revisit it. But we have this information here. 1887, Walter Big Train Johnson, baseball player. He played for the Washington Senators from 1907 to 1927. He won the Triple Crown for pitching 3 times throughout his career, which is an extremely huge feat. And he passed away, unfortunately, in 1946. Adolph Sax, in 1814, was born. He's the inventor of the saxophone. He passed away in 1894. Emma Stone, the actress from such movies such as Birdman and Zombieland. She turns 27 today. Happy birthday, Emma. And Josie Altidore, U.S. soccer player, also currently plays for Toronto FC in the MLS. He turns 26. My personal favorite player. Happy birthday, Josie. 7:20. It's the time on the clock here in the third quarter. The Mustangs trail by 5. It's been a back and forth game so far. Both teams having big plays, both teams coming up with big drives, big defensive stops. And it's been about as even as you can get of a game. And this kick will go to the outside, and it will be caught and kneed down. Looks like number 44. It's Nicholas Carlosano.
I think the Mount Lebo special teams unit has really found a way to slow down the Mustangs special teams unit, a lethal one at that.
Well, they've certainly learned not to kick the ball to Kevin Brown anymore. Huh, Mr.
After
Barat?
3 times. I mean, you would think after once it would have been, once was enough for me. So what's interesting is if Lebo does score again, guys, I think I would try to sneak Ashton Teeter or Patrick Rossi up,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Put the ball in the hands of your most dangerous player. So
twins lined up.
Corey Thomas will hand the ball off to Coxon. Coxon's going to do a nice spin move and stay on his feet, and he's going to fight his way down there, and it looks like he got the first down.
I think this is what you have to do, guys. I'm kind of torn here. I've always been one that you want to strike real fast. I think Plum's so overdue to hit a long pass to Ashton Teeter, but boy, I think if you can establish the run, keep Mount Lebanon's offense has been fantastic here in the first 4.5, 5 minutes in the third quarter. I think you got to keep Mount Lebanon's offense off the field and run the ball a little bit, eat up some clock, and give time for your defense to rest.
Under 7 minutes now remaining in the third quarter. The Mustangs trail by 5. First and 10, ball on the 34. And they're going to run this one to Coxon again, and he's going to fight his way for another huge gain. It looks like he might be an inches short of the first down. The referees haven't measured any close ones, so they might as well give it to him, and yes, they will. They've done that all game today. Any close of the first down, they pretty much give it to him. And now you see first and 10.
I agree with Mr. Barat. I have a mentality where if it's not broken, don't fix it. And this run game has been working. It led them around 70 yards for the first score they had on offense. And that Kevin Brown was able to streak up the field for another touchdown. I say keep doing what's working.
Corey Thomas in shotgun. He will hand the ball off to Brown. And Brown is going to lose maybe a yard or two on that one. So we see second down and 12. They announced Coxon over the loudspeaker. We don't know if you heard that, but it was actually Kevin Brown that ran that one there. We've got under 6 minutes here.
I think here's where you take the long ball there, here, Mr. Barat.
We've seen him earlier in the game.
12.
They've thrown with Corey Thomas, who just overthrew Teeter twice and should have had a completion to Patrick Crossley, but it was either pass interference call or Crossley did not see it. That would have been a huge play. They're handing the ball to Brown again, and Brown's again is going to lose yards on that one. They're going to spawn him down at the 40-yard line. So we see third down and long with 5:27 remaining in the third quarter.
Sorry, guys. Kind of like now you're backed up into your own corner here. It's going to be third and big time long, about 3rd and 14. Plum has to get to the Lebo 46. So, boy, this is where you got to think Ashton Teeter's going to be open just on a quick out, because the corner's going to be laying at least 7 to 10 yards off of him.
Corey Thomas in shotgun, and he will throw.
He's going deep. He has time.
He's buying himself some time, runs into his own lineman, and will get hit. That was number 66.
I think he
Hunter Kazin, who got the sack there. Go ahead, Nolan.
Sorry there, Logan. I think he tried to extend the play too much when he should have just taken a shot while he had it. Looked for a little bit more room outside when he should have hit Teeter down the right sideline, and ran, as you said, ran into his own lineman and got hit.
Jacob Chappell on the punt. Back to return will be number 3, Jack Young. He hasn't been the feature return man today, but now he will.
Bounce.
And this one is going to take a Mustang bounce. So Jack Young's going to pick it up, but he will end up getting it. He picked it up and dropped it, but he will end up picking it back up and get the ball down to, looks like they're going to say, the 38-yard line.
Low snap on that one. Hit the ground. Chappell picked it up. Didn't get it off as well as he may have wanted it to, but still a decent punt.
I'd like to take you back a minute to that last play of the Mustangs' last drive. You could tell Mount Lebanon going in, blitz it, not letting Corey Thomas have any time to complete the pass downfield. Smart play for Mount Lebanon and their defense.
Jenkins in at quarterback. He's in shotgun as he has on every single play of this game.
Plum has to stop them here. They need a defensive stop.
And they will fake the handoff, and it was read
there you go, Mr. Ross.
Beautifully by Zach Dolan, who will get there for a huge loss on that one as he will spot him down. And it looks like the 34-yard line. This will be second down and 14 with 3:45 remaining in the third quarter. The Mustangs trailing by just 5. Jenkins in at quarterback, and he will throw and to be dropped. Looks like number 1 on our roster that is Aiden Kane. We announced him a little bit like that earlier, but it's actually Patrick Muller, who is number 1.
I'm sorry, Logan. There's no one on number 1 right now. I mean, I don't know if Pat Crossey's responsible, but if Nolan can zoom out, there's no one on the line. There's no one on the inside slot receiver, and he's going right across the middle. So that, I don't know if that's the way the defense is set up, that would be Patrick Crossey picking him up, going across, but he is now wide open. I don't know if Plum will shift their coverage on a 3rd and 14 for the Blue Devils.
Fans standing up, getting loud. He's in shotgun. He is under pressure. Rolling out to his right. There's a flag on the play. It's definitely a block in the back call as we get knocked out of bounds. There was an obvious block in the back call there by the Mount Lebanon lineman that looked to be number 86, Patrick Workmeister, who had a block in the back call there. But nonetheless, we see the punt units trying on the field as Morgan will likely decline this with 3:27 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Mustangs need a huge drive here to take the lead going into just the last quarter of play.
Big drive by the Mustangs defense here. Or not drive, just stop. Mount Lebo, these last 2 drives have been running all over this Mustang defense. They really held their ground there and stopped them.
Patrick Crossey back to return. In the punt, we see number 15, Garrett Ortila. Ortila on the punt. It is a high, booming punt. And it will bounce out. It looks like the 27-yard line. And we're used to seeing Jacob Chapla kick off and punt, and that was a huge one there.
Guys, just to give you some out-of-town scores real quick, no surprises. North Allegheny Tigers with a huge leads. This one's actually kind of shocking to me. The Central Catholic Vikings, 49-0 over the Upper St. Clair Panthers. Woodland Hills up 34-0. Penn Trafford, 49-7 over the North Hills Indians. McKeesport 34-0 over the Seneca Valley Raiders. 2 closest games. One of them is right here. We're bringing to you right now the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils with a 5-point lead over the Mustangs, and the Pine Richland Rams struggling a little bit with the Penn Hills Indians at 14-7.
You see Patrick Crossey in at quarterback now, and he will get the snap and he will throw, and it'll get completed. So it looks like number.
That's 5, Kevin Brown.
It's Kevin Brown there who get the first down a little bit more. And those 2 games that Mr. Perot mentioned that are close, of course one of them is here, those are the 2 teams that will play each other next week. The winner of those 2 games, if Plum wins, they will play the winner of Pine Richland, Penn Hills. Of course, if we go back to last year, Plum's first playoff game in what seems like forever, beat Penn Hills, upset Penn Hills at Penn Hills. And Corey Thomas in a shotgun now with 2 wide receivers out. And of course we weren't broadcasting the game, but we were in the student section and it was crazy. Kevin Brown, he's gonna find some holes. He's gonna get the first down. He's gonna run to the outside. He's still on his feet, going down across the 30, and he will get tackled at the 27-yard line. What another run by Kevin Brown. And he is having himself such a game. Unbelievable performance by him. He is just a junior, so he'll be back next year. And what a game by him.
Not only just Kevin Brown, this entire Mustangs offense, especially the running game. Luke Coxon getting Nick Coxon getting the hard in between the tackles, rushing yards. Then Kevin Brown bouncing it out to the outside, really keeping this Mount Lebo defense on their toes.
And Mount Lebanon jumps a little bit there, but they're not called a flag, and they'll hand the ball to Cox. Cox is going to run to the outside now, and he's going to run into Ashton Teeter, but he will still get a couple more yards. It'll be about a yard short of the first down. They might give it to him as they've done throughout the day, just giving everyone the benefit of the doubt and the close ones. So we see if the Mustangs get another first down. So they're going to say 2nd and 1. Ball on the 18-yard line. But then we go back again to that playoff game last year against Penn Hills. It was a huge moment in the student section. I remember going to the bathroom and hearing all the Penn Hills parents complain that they were actually losing a football game. And their handoff to Coxon there is good for about 5 yards on that one.
Logan, I look at this Mustangs team. You got a lot of players back from last year, but it looks like a completely different team than last year's team. Last year we had Willie Fuhr taking the snaps under center. We had a strong quarterback. We had lots of options. We knew what we were working with. This year, the offense has certainly been affected by Will. He was a senior last year, obviously, and his absence on this offense has been known as Plum has been struggling to find the right quarterback for them. Corey Thomas and Pat Crossy, excuse me, are what Plum has resorted to here in the playoffs, what they see as their best option. Looks like a timeout by the Mustangs.
So stop the clock out 138, 26-21. No one mentioned they looks like a different team. They did lose a whole lot on defense. I think just off the top of my head, Nicholas Poprocky, Joe Nania, Billy Bob Barrett.
They also lost Philip Marr, very talented receiver. They lost Ronald Amato, another very important part.
Nick Robb was a big factor at safety.
Yes.
Zach Martin.
Yeah. Andrew Soxman, who was here at the game tonight.
Of course, as you guys see, though, they've underclassmen have really stepped up in their absences. I mean, huge defensive plays. I just, for one, just distinctively pops out in my mind. Dylan Whiteman, someone who didn't get a ton of playing time last year, made a monstrous hit on Mount Lebo running back. Or maybe it was the quarterback early in the game. Something that really set the tone for this Mustangs defense. And they've been rolling since.
Earlier in the game, we talked about the multiple different backs the Mustangs have employed so far this season. Dylan Whiteman was actually used to run out of the fullback position earlier in the year. We haven't seen him a lot lately. In fact, I don't think we've seen him at all lately, but he has been blocking back there as he's been a huge part of this Mustangs offense that's got them to the playoffs for the second consecutive year. And Patrick Crossy, he will throw. He has Whiteman open, but he was sent throw to the middle, and he would try and hit Jason Hubner. It looks like the Mustangs fans wanting a flag there, but they will not get one. And we see second down and 10.
Way underthrown by Pat Crossy.
So 1:34 remaining on the clock, 26-21, your score. The Mustangs trail by 5 in what has been nothing short of a back and forth game. It's a huge game for the Mustangs here if they go on to win this game. They will play the winner of Pine Ridge and Penn Hills. That is also in a close one. Corey Thomas will be in quarterback. He's under center now, and he's going to hand the ball off to Brown, and Brown will get hit. Wrapped up at the line. That was number 65. It's a kid. Number 65, Paul Gratton. He wrapped up there at the line.
He was hobbling earlier, wasn't he? Didn't he was down on the field, wasn't he?
He was down a little bit earlier. I think Mr. Broad talked about before the game and during our little technical difficulties intermission. Again, we apologize if we do not know how much we were able to record for the first half. That's how big their defensive line is. 6'4", 6'4", 6'2", some of these guys are. Big defensive line that can just get right in there and hit any quarterback. And there will be, looks like a timeout call on Mount Lebanon to stop the clock at 50 seconds in the third quarter. So when we come back, this quick timeout break. The Mustangs have 3rd and 11 with 50 seconds remaining in the third quarter. They are trailing by 5, but threatening here to at least put 3 points up on this board. Again, since we do not know how much we've recorded, we'll do a quick recap of the first half and what was just an amazing, exciting first half. One of the most exciting thing I've ever personally called in my 2 years here on broadcast team.
Mustangs force in the red zone here. Probably gonna have to go with the pass. 3rd, 12, looking to punch one in here. If not, they're gonna probably rely on the leg of Jake Chapla to make this a 2-point game.
Once again, as I stated earlier, we don't know if you caught it or not. I'm feeling a Zach Nolan play right across the middle, up into the end zone. Haven't used him much on offense lately.
Corey Thomas, he will throw. He's under a little bit of pressure, and he'll get wrapped up. No, he will break out of the tackle, and he's going to try and scramble out. He's going to try and buy himself some time, and he's going to get hit anyways. He tried to buy himself some time, and he got hit low and tried to run to the outside. And that will bring out the kicking units, Jacob Chapla. The clock ticks to about 20 seconds here remaining in the third quarter as Jacob Chapla comes out to try and make this a 2-point game.
Corey Thomas, he lost a few yards on that one, but it could have been a lot worse. He was probably 10, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he managed to shake off a few defenders and get back upfield.
If that happens to you, would you rather just have him get wrapped up there and just go down, or would you like him to try and scramble out behind and try and see if he can make something from nothing?
See, I'm back and forth on this one. However, I also don't have an answer. I don't know. It really depends on what quarterback you have in, how they're feeling. On that specific play, when Corey Thomas did get out of the pot or did escape the pressure, in that case, I would like him to throw the ball away. I'm not a fan of necessarily throwing the ball away in times like that, but I think it's better than negative yardage.
Logan, I would have to think that. Excuse me for one moment.
We like to apologize. That was not technical difficulties. That was Barat difficulties as he was taking Nolan's mic as he would now be working on the camera. We saw a little bit of his camera work earlier in this game. We did not know if it was recorded as he did the first quarter. And we saw a little bit of his camera work earlier this year against McKeesport, where we mentioned how small that press box we were in a closet, and he decided that, hey, I'm going to try and see here, and he decided to just film for the game.
As I was saying, you see a lot of that from Corey Thomas, scrambling, breaking tackles, moving left or moving right to the sideline, and then not getting anything out of it, just running out of bounds. So at the end of the day, he takes a loss and kind of evens it out, but I think you should go for the end zone there. In a game that's 26-21, you're down 5 points, at least try. I mean, you're not too worried about throwing a pick. Just if no one's open, throw it away, but if you see an open man, I'd say go for it. You're down 5 points. That puts you ahead, even with a missed extra point.
This is a 36-yard field goal. If he throws it away, it's a 31-yard field goal. I mean, does the extra 5 yards make a difference? Maybe. I mean, doesn't matter. We'll find out any second here. So.
Very good point by Mr. Rick Barat.
Mount Lebanon does have a guy back to return in case it is short, but with the leg of Chapel, that is unlikely to be the case.
Unless it's partially blocked, of course. Yeah.
I was thinking he might be back there in case they try a fake, have a safety back.
Haven't tried to block much of Jake's kicks that we've seen so far.
This one they will attempt, and it will be blocked by the Mount Lebanon player. And that was huge for Mount Lebanon. As instead of a 1 possession or just a 2-point game, it is now a 5-point game as it is blocked. I could not see who got in there. They said they announced it as number 58, Ryan Gaughan, who just got in there and made a huge play for Mount Lebanon. Now they would start this drive, and instead of what likely would have been about the 20, now be at the 29, 11:55 remaining in this game. The Blue Devils up just 5.
Mustangs looking for a big stop here. They've stopped them all game. One more stop on defense would be very impressive. Put the ball in the hands of the Mustangs, run the clock down with the run. That has proven to be successful so far this game. Mustangs defense needing one more stop.
One thing we haven't seen in a while is a Mustang turnover, which could be very, very huge here.
And we're going to see the quarterback run to the outside, and he's going to get knocked out at about the 35.
I think, Logan, maybe 33, 34. So it should be 2nd and 5 for the Blue Devils.
2nd and 5 now. Down by 5. The Blue Devils lead this one 26-21. The Mustangs down by 5. Jenkins is going to throw. He has Mahler. Mahler's going to run to the outside, and he'll get tackled down by his face mask.
And that's a 15-yard penalty. Horse collar tackle by Ashton Teeter, unfortunately. So Ashton grabbed him from behind and the Blue Devils will move into Mustang territory. Actually, I think Ashton had to go and grab him, or he might still be running.
Yeah, that's always a difficult call to make. I mean, do you go for the surefire, get him down with the horse collar and take the penalty, or do you risk the chance of him taking it all the way into the end zone?
And they actually called, it wasn't a horse collar, guys, they called a face mask, so that should move it to the Plum 46. So the Blue Devils enter Mustang territory, and Plum will need a defensive stop here to get the ball back.
Mount Lebanon slowly creeping their way towards field goal position and the end zone here.
Jenkins is in shotgun, empty set, 5 wide receivers out. Harvey motions behind him. Mustangs will blitz as they hand off to Harvey, and Harvey will try and fight his way for some yards, and he will get, it looks like they're going to say 5. He got 5, maybe 4. Nonetheless,
good hard run.
Second down, and it looks like 6. Ball on the 42-yard line, the Mustang 42-yard line, as we now under 11 minutes here remaining in the game.
You saw number 8 on that last play, Nicholas Coxon, go after the quarterback. Obviously, they're catching on, thinking he might run it. Nicholas Coxon was all over him if the quarterback was going to try to sneak it outside.
Jenkins in shotgun. He will keep up the middle, and he will get the first down. He's very fast as they knock down the ref there. Accidentally knocked down the ref there. And Jenkins will be brought down for first down for the Blue Devils. They lead this game 26-21, 10:43 remaining in the fourth quarter. Mustangs have been putting up an amazing fight here. They need one more great defensive stop here. They want to give their offense a little bit of breathing room to work with in their upcoming drive. And Jenkins will keep, there's a flag on the play.
It's going to be a hold. There's no doubt about that. And that's exactly what Plum needs. That will stop the clock, obviously. And also, that will be a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. And they're marking it at the 30. So that will move Lebo back to the Plum 40. So that will make it 1st and 18 for the Blue Devils.
Mustangs looking to get a stop here.
Jenkins in shotgun, 5 wide receiver, empty set as we await the play call. Under 10 minutes now remaining in the game. See 1st and 15, ball on the 40-yard line for the Blue Devils. And it's a handoff again to Harvey. Harvey's going to get on the outside. He's going to have some room, and he's going to get all that yardage back, and maybe even the first down there.
I think it's a few inches short.
And that's exactly what we saw the Cavaliers do against the Mustangs. Spread them and gouge them up the middle.
This will be 2nd down and inches. As they again hand the ball off to Harvey, and Harvey will get the first down on that one.
And guys, I hate to say it, but I think we're seeing the opposite effect of what happened at the end of the first half. Mount Lebanon's defense was on the field, and they got tired at the end of the second quarter. I think we're starting to see that a little bit with the Mustangs. And the Blue Devils are now in field goal range. Field goal would obviously help them, put them up by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But Blue Devils here, as we're approaching the 9-minute mark, want a touchdown.
And Harvey, they would fake the handoff to him, and they're going to throw to the outside as complete number 6 to Massey, who gets inside the 10. The first down, and now we will see 1st and goal as the clock will be stopped at 9:04 left in the game. Needs to be a huge stop here for the Mustangs if they want their offense to be able to take the lead in this coming drive. And then there's the keeper, and Jenkins on the keeper is going to run into the end zone there.
Boy, does that play look familiar, Logan.
And that is how they're going to get a touchdown. 8:55.
Why does that look familiar? Because that's how they scored down here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just walking into the end zone, clearly full, quarterback keeping it
That kind of takes the air out of the sails for the Mustangs here, which actually puts Plum in a position here now, guys. Extra point pending, down by 12 points, where they're going to have to pretty much, Plum at most will get 3 possessions this game, probably 2, and they're going to have to score on both, obviously. So Plum definitely not out of it, but as you can see from the scoreboard, the Blue Devils, who've just come out here in the second half and have been pretty much unstoppable with 8:55 left to go, up 33-21. So hopefully we'll see an exciting ending.
I think one thing here, the Mustangs are forced to pass, and that's almost inevitable with about 9 minutes left, down by 2 scores. And I think that when the Mustangs have been under pressure this season and have had to pass the ball, they haven't responded nearly as well as they maybe have wanted to. I think here's it's proving time. They really got to come out there, and they have to show that they can throw the ball.
Back to return will be Brown and Crossy. The kickoff will be number 13, Joey Lowen. $8:55 remaining in the game. The Mustangs trailing by 12. And there's the kick, and it is up, and it again is a low kick, short kick, and it will be no gain there, but it will still put the Mustangs in good field position to 39. Actually, I believe it should be 34-21. The scoreboard says 33-21. So.
No, because they missed the 2-point conversion, the extra point, and then they just kicked an extra point here.
So it is 33-21, 12-point game here. 8:49 remaining. First and 10. Ball on the Mustang 40.
Mustangs must capitalize on the mistakes of Mount Lebanon now, leaving single coverage perhaps for Ashton Teeter to get a big play.
And they're going to hand the ball off to Brown. Brown's going to run up the middle, and he is going to get, it looks like, 4. So we see second down and 6. So the clock now ticks to about 8:30 left in the game. You see Coxon comes in for Brown now. Corey Thomas will trot back out at quarterback. They've thrown a couple times deep with Corey, 3 to be exact. 2 of them were overthrown by a couple of yards. The other one looked on the money. Maybe a pass interference call that was missed, but nonetheless, it was incomplete. And they will throw it here. He has some time. He's going to try and throw deep to Teeter, and just over the outstretched arm of Ashton Teeter.
Missed him 3 times tonight, and they've been close.
Coverage for the Blue Devils was number 3, Jack Young.
3 windows, 3 options to score for the Mustangs, but unfortunately, looks like Corey Thomas could not put it in the breadbasket of Ashton Teeter. Ashton Teeter with lots of room to run after all 3 of those plays. Then, of course, I don't know if we caught that, as I said, with our technical difficulties, but Pat Crossy on the right side. Ball just went through his fingertips, perhaps tipped on that 4th try down the field.
Corey Thomas in shotgun. He will throw again. He will attempt to throw to Zach Nolan. It'll be just out of reach of Nolan. And now we will see 4th down and 7.
Interesting play call here. I think 8 minutes to go, down by 2 touchdowns. I think you have to go for it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can't punt it. Because Mount Lebanon gets a couple first downs, they're going to take the clock down to the 3-minute mark. So this is obviously a huge play in the game right now. Plum with 15 seconds left on the shot clock. So they approach the line. 33-21, 7:58 left to go in the 4th quarter. great football game if you're just joining us.
Corey Thomas here just has to be smart with the football.
And Corey Thomas, they will throw. You will just overthrow Patrick Crossy.
He's a little behind him, actually. Behind and over him.
7:53 is where the clock will be when the Blue Devils start this drive. The Mustangs have just one timeout left, trailing by 12 here. 7:53 remaining in the game. It's been a back and forth game up until this fourth quarter here.
Mount Lebanon, guys, hasn't been stopped on a possession in the second half, right? Oh, no, one. They punted one time.
Yeah.
That's it. So Plum's going to have to stop them and get the ball back. We'll see what they do. I'd be shocked if Mount Lebanon went to the air. I think they would want to take some time off the clock and work the ball on the ground, but we never know.
I think the Mustangs here are going to be going after the ball. I mean, they're going to be trying to strip it, trying to force some sort of turnover, get the ball back to their offense and try to score.
Harvey motions behind Jenkins, but Jenkins will keep it, and he will run to the outsides, and he will get back to the line and nothing more. 7:45 remaining in the game. The Mustangs trailing by 12. They need a quick stop here if they want to win this football game and move on and face the winner of Penn Hills Pine Richland.
And that's fine. That no gain is absolutely fine, and there's no rush now for Mount Lebanon. So the Plum defense will have a chance to rest, and you can see they're not even huddling. They're getting the play call from the sidelines. The shot clock's now down to 10 seconds, and just by running one play, we're almost under the 7-minute mark. So they've already killed a minute as they're running their second play.
Jenkins in shotgun. He will this time keep it and fake the handoff to Harvey. Fold me up here, and he will get a nice gain there.
Gained of 8.
That, however, does hurt the Mustangs, Mr. Brock.
Oh, there's no doubt now. So Plum's going to have to, and this could be 2-down territory. I doubt it, but if Plum's going to have to hold them here, and again, there'll be no urgency as they started this drive at the 7:55 mark. We're already under 6:35.
And there's the handoff to Harvey, and it does not look like Harvey has it.
No, this referee in front of us gave him a yard gain, which I'm stunned. I don't think he made it much past the 35. So now it'll be 4th and 1, and I think Mount Lebanon, there's punters not coming onto the field. They can actually, with 2 timeouts left, they can take a timeout and take another 20 seconds off the clock and get it under 6 minutes and then punt it and pin Plum deep, which they actually might actually do here. But now they're going to, surprise, they're going to run a play.
Watch the screen here from the Mustangs.
Might be trying to drop Plum off. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and that's exactly what the Blue Devils will do. Good play call, 5:52 left to go here in the fourth quarter. They'll bring on the punt unit. Plum was able to stop them. 2 minutes went off the clock, so no harm, no foul. Plum gets a break. Hopefully the ball will go in the end zone. They'll start the drive on the 20-yard line, but Plum will be obviously, guys, forced now. As we said, they might get 3 possessions, probably 2. Well, this is number 2 here, so they're going to have to score on this possession.
5:52 remaining in the game. The Mustangs trail by 12, 33-21. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties that happened in the first half. We do not know how much of that you were able to watch, but the Mustangs started out this game with a 7-point lead on the 100-yard kick return by Kevin Brown, who's had himself an amazing day. Blue Devils will end the get back 6 of those points on a touchdown, 40-yard touchdown pass before they messed up on the extra points. And now we're at this point, 33-21. With 5:52 left. Huge 4th and 1 here. So it'll be a quick kick by the quarterback Jenkins, and it will be downed at the 8-yard line. So the Mustangs need a little 92-yard magic here if they want to win this football game. 30-21, 5:43 remaining. And Noah, how important is this drive coming up?
I mean, this is the season on the line, obviously. I mean, let's be real here. If they want to move on, they have to score on this drive right here and pin back this far. It's going to be difficult, but The Mustangs have had some explosive plays today. Not nearly as many as Mount Lebanon, but I feel like they're definitely capable, especially with the down the field threat with Ashton Teeter and Corey Thomas. This should be a very, very interesting drive.
Corey Thomas in shotgun, and he will, of course, throw.
We'll get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it!
And he would get rid of it. No.
Safety.
And that's the Mustangs' season as it appears, as this game now seems to be out of reach. 14-point game the Blue Devils have. They will get the ball back on the safety punt. And the game that the Mustangs were in up until about the fourth quarter looks like might be ending on a sad note.
I was very surprised with that play call, Logan, trying to throw the ball downfield on first down. I understand that there's just a little over 5.5 minutes left, but still, you know that Mount Lebanon's defense and their defensive line has been playing so well. They've been getting to the quarterback. I say you run, get a couple more yards, a little bit more wiggle room for Corey Thomas to throw the ball downfield. But nonetheless, we're looking at 35-21 with 5 minutes and 37 seconds left. And as I am famous for saying, stranger things have happened in the world of football. But it doesn't look too good for the Mustangs right now. Down 14 points, 2 touchdowns with 5 minutes, 37 seconds left.
No, that's an unfortunate that Corey Thomas took the sack there. Again, you know, Corey Thomas has had a really good year this year. And, you know, I don't know if the coach has instructed him or, hey, whatever you do, do not take a sack in the end zone. He did try to get rid of it. The referees called safety. So now let's set the table for you if you're still with our broadcast. There's 5:37 left to go in the fourth quarter. The Mount Lebanon Blue Devils with a 14-point lead. It's like they've never missed any extra points or failed 2-point conversions. We're where we should be. Scores that look familiar to us, 35-21. The Blue Devils up by 2 touchdowns, and they will be getting the ball back. Plum with 1 timeout left, so we would assume Mount Lebanon will run the ball and try to kill 2 minutes. We realized from their last drive that they can kill 2. They can run down 2 minutes without a first down. So if they can get a first down, or even 2 or 3, that might be it for the Mustangs and for the game. But I didn't have the headset a lot in the third quarter. The trivia question. What was the? I want to know the answer. Was I close?
The crazy game that's been happening.
I understand that.
We forgot to mention the trivia question. That's a great point.
Thank you.
Trivia question: 2 years ago, in Matt Morgan's first year as a head coach, the team won their first game in what seemed like forever, but they ended up losing the game to Mount Lebanon. The question was, what was the score of that game? Mr. Brott's guess was
I thought it was
42.
34-0 or 42-0, I thought.
The score was 29-0 Mount Lebanon.
It's close. I was close. 5 points off, Nolan, huh?
Well, you did say mercy rule, Mr. Barat.
Did say mercy rule. Well, I was close. I was close on the last one. Against Penn Trafford. What was the trivia question when you guys were with Mr. Lavarse at Latrobe?
It was actually.
Don't tell me the answer. I want to guess.
The question was actually relating to the upcoming basketball season.
Okay. James Edwards. Taylor Havino.
He had 30 points in the game that I'm referring to, James.
Okay.
These two teams met in a tournament.
Deer Lakes. Shaler.
No,
what was the
Plum
name?
Plum and Latrobe.
Plum and Latrobe met in a tournament.
Plum and Latrobe met
it was December 31st.
December 31st.
What was the name
of the tournament? Oh, how many years ago?
Last year.
It was just the Gateway tournament.
That is not
Gateway,
the name
right?
of the tournament, Mr. Barat.
But it was a Gateway, though, right? I'm right. Please, I'm close.
It was
right?
actually took place at Penn Hills.
Was it past? I knew it was local, too. I'm so close.
There's the keeper there. And Jenkins will get the first down.
And he stayed in bounds, too. What a smart play by Jenkins. Senior quarterback, could have ran out of bounds, stayed in bounds. Really good play by the Mount Lebanon quarterback. The clock does stop on the first down at 5:23 left to go in the fourth quarter. And then it will start right back up. Was it in Penn Hills? A Penn Hills tournament? I don't know what it was called though.
It was
Tournament of the Roses.
It was actually just the holiday tournament.
I'm right down all around all these answers. Huh?
67-62 was the score for a little more trivia. James Edwards had about 30 points, I believe I recall, in that game. Having a big game as always. And they were handed off to Harvey there.
And Harvey got nothing.
And we like to do, we recapped the game, we recapped the season for the Mustangs earlier, in the pregame. We did not know if it was recorded. We assume it was, but it sounded a little bit like this. 4-game win streak to start the year, the first time in forever that happened for the Mustangs. They were then unfortunately lost to Kiski, which, as it looks like now, has come back to hurt them, as if they beat Kiski in that game, they would have been able to play.
Probably at Bethel Park tonight.
And while Bethel Park has blown out Kiski, everybody's thinking, at least up here in the booth, that Plum is a much better team at Kiski than Kiski.
Look, and I remember,
given this score, probably would have been able to beat Bethel Park.
I remember packing up the equipment, going to Kiski, talking to you guys before the Kiski game. It didn't look like much of a threat to Plum.
Correct.
They weren't too good of a team going in. Now they actually got ranked ahead of us in the playoffs, and we ended up losing to them, and that was really what brought us here. You know, we played McKeesport. We knew going into that game it could go either way, and then, of course,
and Jenkins, he's going to look to throw, but he will scramble all the way back to the side of the 49. He'll be sacked by Kevin Brown.
I have to say something here. I'm sorry, Noah.
Leighton Qual, my apologies.
Why even attempt to pass? You're up by 14, and that play started to the 4:44 mark. Why even attempt to throw a pass? He could have, if he would have fumbled that ball there, all of a sudden, it's 35-28 with 4.5 minutes to go, and there is a ginormous momentum change. I don't understand. You know, we watched Penn Trafford drive down the field on Plum, and to beat Plum by an extra score, and it didn't feel like it should have been that way. It should have been by a 2-touchdown advantage. It's not like Mount Lebanon is moving up an extra seed if they win by 14, 21, or 3,000.
The only thing I can think of, Mr. Broad, is one more touchdown definitely finishes the game. But having said that, you run the ball, you get a few more yards, you kick a field goal. That does the exact same thing as scoring a touchdown, makes it a 3-possession game. And
stopping the clock also hurts.
Yeah, and you keep the clock running. Plum could have the ball with 2 minutes left, down 2 touchdowns and a field goal, or 3 touchdowns perhaps if they just would have ran the ball, would have been more conservative. But now it's 4 minutes and 34 seconds. Your Mustangs down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
And warming up on the sidelines here is Matthew Goodland, senior quarterback. Maybe we can see a little goody football magic coming up here as he warms up with Keyshawn Smith on the sideline. And there is a high punt. So we've seen that a lot today.
I think the main reason for Matt warming up on the sidelines not only is to get the senior maybe some playing time, but also while Corey Thomas has had the biggest arm on the team so far, he has not been very accurate. Matt Goodland, throughout the little playing time he has seen this season, has been very accurate. And I think that's right now what the Mustangs need, is they just need to get the ball down the field somehow, some way.
Well, I think also if you're Matt Morgan, you're thinking, let's put the ball in the hands of our senior. Whether we win, whether we lose this game, let the senior go out. Corey Thomas, sophomore, still got 2 more years. Let's see what Matt Goodland can do. Perhaps he can light a spark for this Mustangs offense.
Matthew Goodland in shotgun, 4 wide receivers out. The Mustangs trailing by 14 with 4:25 remaining. Goodland will throw to Crossy, and it will be down. They're going to say it's incomplete. So the clock won't tick, which is the good thing about that one. So we see 2nd down and 10.
And we know Matt. We've seen Matt. We saw him play a little bit at North Hills in the opening game of the season. We know Matt's a very accurate passer. He's able to move the team. Kind of got lost there in the shuffle with Corey Thomas and his arm. So, and working in Patrick Crossy, and then Plum for a couple games went pistol heavy and ran the ball a lot. So we'll see what Matt can bring to the table here with 4:21 left in the fourth quarter.
Goodwin in shotgun, of course. He will throw, and he looks like he had Zach Nolan there.
He knows it too.
That was a great throw by Matthew Goodwin there.
Yes, it was.
3rd and 10 with 4:17 remaining.
Way too many drops. Way too many drops this game. You look at the Pat Crossy one earlier. It seemed big at the time, but looking back on it now, that was a huge, huge drop. And someone who normally has great hands, and again with Zach Nolan here, just a big drop across the middle. Would have got a first down and stopped the clock. Big, big drop by the Mustangs.
Sure. When you're the lower seed, also like when Plum was last year with Penn Hills, you need breaks to go your way, and you have to win a turnover battle and get some splash plays.
Goodwin with a great throw there. To Jason Huebner. Jason Huebner's going to run the middle, and he's going to get the first down a little bit more. And what a very, very good play by Matthew Goodwin. So 4:06 is where the clock will be at. And now, guys, we'd like to go back, or another look back on this great season that the Mustangs have had. I'll bring it up after this quick play with 3:58 remaining in the game. Matthew Goodwin again in shotgun.
Oh, he
will
took
be
a
hit, and that ball will be intercepted. It's number 33, Eric Cross, and that will definitely end the Mustangs season. Unfortunately, the scoreboard will likely show 42-21 bearing the extra point, although that is not what the game was like. It says 42-21, but in reality it was a lot closer. We look back at the Penn Trafford game, where that game was a lot closer than the scoreboards.
But Matt took a big time hit on that play.
There's the extra point attempt.
Really hurts when you have four passes that could potentially be touchdowns. You hit at least 2 of your receivers on that. You've got 2 more touchdowns. It's a ball game.
And the high extra point is up and good. That makes it 42-21 with 3:46 remaining in the game.
And you know what? I think you guys hit the nail on the head. People are going to look at this score and say, oh, 42-21, blowout, Plum stinks. They're no good. But boy, oh boy, Plum had an opportunity to win this game. And again, that 42-21 score is no way indicative of how this game has gone.
Oh, no, not
There's
at all.
no way. And look at all the struggles Plum had in the first half with the fumbles on the pitch outs and stuff. You can always say if, but once Plum got it together at the end of the second quarter, they've moved the ball. They've moved the ball quite well on the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils, but it's a shame that the season ends this way, and hopefully Plum can get a score here to bring it within two touchdowns, but be interesting to see if Mount Lebanon kicks the ball off.
Still a very, very good season for the Mustangs.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, can't complain.
If you had to think of a win, the best win that the Mustangs have had this year, what would your opinion be?
Oh,
Probably North Hills for me.
Good question, Logan.
The game I'd choose, Logan, would be at North Hills. That was a huge game against the rowdy student section.
And Kevin Brown's going to return this one. He's going to get past the 40. Get tackled at at the 40.
As I was saying, that was a huge game against the rowdy student section. That's very, very fun game to call. It was my first game calling at, and it was at North Hills as well. Their student section was good, as I said. What a beautiful stadium. Perfect night for football. Great win. Mr. Barat?
I'm thinking. A little Pittsburghese in there. I always enjoy, honestly, even though we don't televise it and we practice, I enjoy the first scrimmage to come out because there's not a lot of fanfare there. It's in the middle of August to see the players. But also that first game for me against Hempfield, because that brings back memories of the game last year against Hempfield. So that was exciting. It's close for a nudge, and then Plum Plum kind of blew them out a little bit, which was good. And also the Norwin game, I thought was good.
And Kevin Brown on the screen there. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Barber. Kevin Brown on the screen there, wrapped up in almost a cartoon-like fashion of every single player wrapped up around Kevin Brown, the ball carrier.
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt. For me, I think it was definitely the Norwin game, by the way. I mean, a blowout by the Mustangs, a very good team in Norwin, someone who they were very close with the year before. I think that was just a huge win for the Mustangs.
And that Norwin win, actually, when you look back at it, is actually the win that put them in the playoffs because they going up into that last week. Of course, Norwin was playing Penn Trafford and wound up losing that game. Very tough opponent, and Plum was playing Latrobe. But if both those teams won, because of that Norwin win, Plum would have got in. So all they had to do was beat Latrobe or have a Norwin loss to Penn Trafford.
No, and you know what, guys? It's been a successful season, and you know we can actually probably start our post-game show now. And you know, Plum, they do have their whole line is senior driven, but there will be a lot of changes. And not only will it be changes on this team with Corey Thomas being a year older, and you don't know what freshmen, sophomores will come up and make a huge difference, but there's going to be, and we probably I haven't talked about it with you guys, there's going to be 6 classifications next year in all sports. Yeah. You know, and now I don't know how it's going to affect, with swimming, but, you know, if we invite Nolan back to do games next year, and I'm kidding, of course, you know, that's all new. We know Plum will be in 5A, and certain teams like Pine Richland will be in 5A, but they can elect to play up in the 6A. So you might see rivalries renewed, which could be our theme next year, because Franklin Regional and also there's a catch there by Ashton Teeter for a first down. Franklin Regional, Gateway should be in the same section. I mean, you might get a Hollidaysburg or Altoona, Latrobe, Norwin, Penn Trafford, some of the same teams that you see this year, but also the teams that are higher up currently in AAA. Hampton, you know, that could be an out-of-section game, so be new opponents, somewhere different to go. So that's always a little exciting. There's a pass there to Patrick Crossy.
Goodland was hit as he threw there and still completed a very nice pass to Patrick Crossy. He's been playing great so far. It is unfortunately garbage time, but he has been playing very, very good in his limited action here late in the game. This Mustangs trail now by 21, 3-touchdown lead. And it's, again, another completion by Matthew Goodland.
Nice pass by Matt Goodland as well, putting it just out of the hands of defenders, just into the hands of a Mustang receiver.
And now, I could be wrong. I don't have official stats up here with me, but I believe Goodland actually might lead the team in completions.
Well, he did throw an interception as well, Logan, so don't forget that. But you're right. Matt Goodland has been playing very well. And here he goes again.
And this time he would throw across the middle.
Oh,
there's a late hit there.
No call. No call.
By the Mount Lebanon defender.
Very nicely thrown ball. Hit Patrick Crossy, but he could not pull it up.
One thing to add on what Mr. Brought was saying with the new classifications, a lot of people thought that it might weaken the WPIAL, and in terms of it being one of the most powerful, really recruiting beds in the country even. A lot of people thought that the competition's not going to be as good. It's going to make players not look or seem as good as they are. Ooh. And some radicalists even suggested the WPIAL yes, I used radical.
Yeah, that's good though. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's good. That's good.
Noah having his best game here in the postseason.
Yes. some people even thought that the WPIAL should even try and detach from the PIAA, but
correct.
But then they wouldn't be able to play in Hershey for the state title, which a lot of teams that are used to going to the state playoffs, such as Central, South Fayette, did obviously not agree with that because they want their state title.
See, a minute 30 here as Goodland's going to scramble now. He couldn't find anyone open. He's going to run out of bounds there.
Good play by Matt as we're down to a minute 31 left to go.
So it'll be 4th and short. 1:31 remaining in the game. The Mustangs unfortunately trail this one by 3 touchdowns, so it is out of reach. But still, a lot of positives looking forward to next year. And a couple of big ones. Huge, important players that will be for the Mustangs next year. Each of them had a good game today. Kevin Brown, Nicholas Coxon, and Corey Thomas will likely lead what could be a very dynamic offense next year. A good one there will complete to Coxon, and Coxon will get the first down. So the clock will stop at 1:25 with 42-21 the score.
One underclassman receiver that we haven't really talked about in a while. He has a touchdown catch on the season. R.J. Hart actually is a freshman. He hasn't had a ton of catches. I think he only has it's under 10 catches, I'd imagine, on the season. He's more than likely going to be the guy next year at receiver as only a sophomore, with guys like Jason Huebner, Patrick Crossy, and Ashton Teeter graduating.
You look at Hart, you look at Teeter, you see a lot of similarities in terms of speed and able to get by defenders. Of course, that's what made Ashton Teeter such a dangerous weapon for the Mustangs in his 4 years here at high school. And 50 seconds remaining in the game. And Goodland's gonna get the touchdown. Dropped.
Makes
Patrick
it 3rd and 3, or is that? No, that is Patrick Crossy.
So 3rd and 3, ball on the 9-yard line. The Mustangs trying to make it look like it was the game that it was. They're down by 3 touchdowns, although this game was a lot closer. The Mustangs were leading 14-13 at halftime. Their last lead was 21-19. They had a couple chances when they were trailing by 5, 26-21, but unfortunately, they will end up going this game, and Goodland will run to the outside, and he will find Patrick Crossy. Jason Huebner, my apologies, he's 18, Crossy's 81, for a touchdown, and Matthew Goodland, he had a great time. Unfortunately, it was garbage time, but he played great in his limited action. And he is one of the many seniors that just ended his high school career, his high school football career. And now, with 37 seconds, another senior, Jacob Chapla, comes off to take the extra point. Of course, he's someone we haven't talked about. Another key player that the Mustangs will be losing, as this one is up and good.
Oh, that's huge. They'll need to find a kicker next year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's able to kick it to the back of the end zone on almost every single kickoff and get the touchback there. That kind of power is unmatchable in Whippeals.
Their second string, next up kicker, Jackson Gilday, a soccer player. I actually got the privilege of watching him kick the other day. He was nailing balls from the 40, 45, even one from the 50-yard line. So he's got a lot to work on, his accuracy. He was missing left a lot, but he's got a powerful foot. Obviously, it's going to be hard to measure up to Jacob Chapla, and as you know, a lot of the other Plum kickers, Dylan Condis, if you remember him. Obviously, Pat McAfee is now with the Colts. Plum has a history of good kickers, and Jackson will be following in the footsteps of such kickers for the Mustangs.
Yes, indeed. Some other very important players. A very dynamic player, Patrick Crossy, who played everywhere this year.
You expect, letting you expect right now an onside kick, obviously, with 37 seconds left.
Some other key players, Dylan Whiteman, who had a great year of defense. Zachary Kay, very good defensive player. Jason Huebner, we saw a little bit. Nick Pampino, we saw a little bit.
Oh, ball.
And the Mustangs will
recover.
No. They recover it here. So if they can get a quick touchdown, the extra point, and then to get a quick touchdown, then get the onside kick again.
Well, you just have to send right here. I would put Corey Thomas in and just send Ashton Teeter down on the fly route, personally.
So you're saying
Going to
there's a
the
chance?
They're going to the pistol with. Oh no, Matt Goodland's in.
Yep.
Matthew Goodland in shotgun. A touchdown here will bring this within a 7-point lead. As Nolan said, crazier things have happened. He rolls out to the outside. He is going to run, and he is going to keep on his feet at about the 40. He will not get out of bounds to the clock.
Well, it should be a first down.
It is a first down, so the clock will stop at 22 seconds, but will start again as soon as the Mustangs take the set. They are trailing 14. They need a quick touchdown here. They are out of timeouts. Both teams out of timeouts. They are down by 14, 42-28. The clock now starts under 20 seconds, and Matthew Goodland will spike the ball with 17 seconds remaining. And if they really believe that they can send this game to overtime, they need a touchdown on pretty much this play.
Overtime. We're winning this baby in regulation, Logan.
They're down by 14. It is possible. To quote a famous commercial, if it's popsicle, it is possible. And right now, it is very much possible.
It's very much popsicle, Logan.
17 seconds left. Mustangs trailing by 14. Matthew Goodland in at quarterback. And he will throw. And he will find a big pass there. They will lateral it off. It's Dylan Whiteman. And the clock will keep on ticking. They're trying to call for a spike here.
Nah.
But that will be the end of the Mustangs game. And unfortunately, the end of the season. So the Mustangs dropped their first playoff game, 42-28. I do not know the score currently of the Penn Hills Pine Richland game, but the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils will go on to play the winner of that one at a neutral site. And guys, your thoughts on the season? I'll start with you, Noah.
Again, started off very, very strong. Dropped a bad one to Kiski in inclement weather. Kiski played a very, very good game in that one. Mustangs came back and ended up losing two other ones that could have gone either way to Penn Trafford and McKeesport, the two leaders in this section. Came back last week with a very, very strong win against Latrobe. Came into tonight, and they really proved that they could compete with the big time ones. Again, as we've been saying, score doesn't exactly replicate how the game went on. You take away interception return for a touchdown and a bad safety near the end zone. This is a very, very close game, especially considering how the Mustangs started off the game with just getting absolutely nothing. Very, very many drives ended in a punt or ended in a fourth and over 20 yards. Mustangs, I think they should be proud of themselves after this game.
Oh, no doubt.
Nolan, your thoughts?
Well, I could give you my thoughts on the whole season. I can talk about Kiski. I can talk about games that they had gone into and they had looked to win, but they didn't. Games that they did not perform as well. But I'm going to stick to this game. And this was a very winnable game for the Mustangs. I do believe that they could have and they should have completed more passes. Possibly 4 or 5 touchdowns that could have been weren't because of overthrown balls, incompletions, and just not being able to communicate. And I will say that I do think that the one thing I would change about this Mustang season, if I had to pick, would be to put Matt Goodland under center more. I think that he is a good quarterback. I think that if you develop more trust in him, he would do well. He shined. As you saw on that last drive, he led to a touchdown. Would the season have been that different? Perhaps. But I'm really looking forward to this Mustangs team of next year. Corey Thomas, very mature. We've got lots of good players coming up. We're going to lose lots of key players, but they're going to be replaced. That's high school football for you. And that's basically it. Mr. Barat, what are your thoughts on this season?
There will be people that leave here tonight saying this team stinks, they had it, the play calling's horrible, and they're probably the same people that think that Cam Hayward should have his wife on the sidelines in some sort of tent as she gives birth so he can play the game, okay? Coming from my standpoint, when I filmed 23 consecutive losses, for Plum to win more than to win more games than to lose is a win. it's a great season. To make the playoffs in 2 straight years, wonderful. So all in all, successful season. Plum made the playoffs again. The team will go through change. Will next year be an adjustment year? Absolutely. New opponents. This was a senior-driven team, but you know what? That's a challenge. Matt Morgan had a challenge when he started off. They took lumps their first year, made the playoffs the following 2 years with a senior-driven team. These are the players he has groomed since freshman, and now they're graduating, and he'll have a chance to groom some more. We know the JV team has made the playoffs played in the championship for the first time in forever. So it's going to be exciting to follow the Plum Mustang football program.
At the end of this game, it was 42-28. The Mustangs will end up finishing their season at 6-4, unfortunately.
And you guys did a great job, and I look forward for Nolan and Noah during basketball season. And Logan, I'm just kidding. You guys did great. It's always sad to see it end, but it could have ended on a very cold, wintry night in Ringgold playing the extra game like 10 to 15 years ago when we left Ringgold at 11 p.m. when it was snowing. So on a nice, comfortable 50, 55-degree night, as Noah's here in shorts. This is great. I enjoyed the time with you guys. I hope you guys had fun. Unfortunately, Plum didn't come out on the winning end, but the good news is next month basketball, wrestling, and hockey start. And our Make-A-Wish telethon. Yes, preparation for our Make-A-Wish telethon, number 16.
With one of your hosts being Logan Carney. I heard he's a very, very charismatic guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad year. No, I'm kidding. No, as Logan Carney will be one of the 8 telethon hosts this year. So, but that's all we have here is Plum is huddled on the field, and you can see the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils walk on by. They will continue their season more than likely, and unless Penn Hills upsets Pine Richland, my son Zach says Pine Richland won, so it will be they will have their work cut out for them next week as the Pine Richland Rams or the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils opponents. And you know what? And it's those top 8 seeds probably all won, and all the prognosticators said at the start of the playoffs there was definitely a division between the top 8 and the bottom 8, and they have what they, that's the way they bracketed out, and there's going to be some really good games. I mean, Bethel Park's an 8th seed, and they'll be playing Woodland Hills, and they almost beat Woodland Hills earlier in the season. Pine Richland against the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. I think, you're gonna have NA, Central, in there also, along with McKeesport and Penn Trafford. So there's going to be a lot of great games next week.
Anybody up for some Whippeal Championship predictions?
I wish I can. Central was beating Upper St. Clair 49-0. I would be shocked if Central, Pine Richland, NA, one of those 3, if not 2 of those 3, aren't in the championship, probably with the Woodland Hills also. But you can't count out Penn Trafford because with a senior-driven team, Brett LaFoon, who I've called for the last 4 years on scrimmages and regular season games, and the running back's escaping me his name. I can't remember, but I'm glad that they'll be graduating because I won't have to call out their names and numbers anymore. But don't count them out either.
So the Mustangs will end their season 6-4, unfortunately, to the loss against Mount Lebanon. And what a ride this season was. The 4-0 start, the cold weather up on the top of the booth at Kiski, the unfortunate loss that was, being crammed in a booth at McKeesport and went there. Almost the upset against PT and what was a great gameplay by them. And then the huge blow-up by Latrobe to end the year. On behalf of every single person that joined us along this journey, Mr. Barat, we saw Mr. Lavares last week, Nino Fischetti, Dylan Fantone, Tyler Wilson, and of course the 2 people joining me tonight, Nolan Carney, Noah Frederick. I'm Logan Carney, saying to you there will not be another football game from us, unfortunately, but please join us for wrestling, hockey, and of course the basketball season coming up this winter. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us on this incredible ride, this incredible journey, and unfortunately there'll be no football left. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good night.